Okay, we are live. All right. My button wasn't working there. We are live once again. Thank you all so much for joining me. I truly appreciate it. We've got some folks tuning in already. As you guys come on board, be sure to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. As you saw from the thumbnail, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and the burning of Tesla dealerships and Tesla vehicles all over the country. It's a sad, sad state of affairs, but I've got a question for you, and I'm going to ask it here in a minute. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and hit you with something that's pretty funny. Now, I've given my views on feminism here recently, and this is just a funny troll of feminists. And you got to check this out because it's pretty hilarious. It's one of those shows where they are talking behind the scenes to a guy, and he's giving some really funny answers. Check this out.
Uncommon to hear the phrase, "That's a man's job," and I want to hear your thoughts on that particular phrase.
So remember, just oppose their views. It's super simple.
Brian?
There are men's jobs and there are women's jobs. I mean, I think we all, I mean, we're not saying that that doesn't exist, right? I mean, you're not.
We are kind of saying that.
But it's just like if you pull up to a garage, yeah, and you got to get like an alternator replaced, and there's a woman mechanic, the majority of men and women are going to look at that and be like, hey, man, I'm all for, you know, women's rights. I mean, who isn't? But I also want my car to run well.
You can feel it. You can feel it. I can't take it.
We're going to discuss some of the most influential women, who you think they are, and sort of what gives them that influence. Michelle Obama, Shonda Rhimes. Women can do all sorts of things.
All right, buddy. Now disagree with that.
You know, these are, you know, the Michelle Obama thing. She got there because she slept with a man.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I think Michelle Obama is a fantastic example.
Right, but she wouldn't be in the White House if her husband hadn't gotten her there. Very pretty. Very pretty.
What cracks me up about that is it's so easy to set them off, and I find that funny. That's oh, gracious me. You know, before you talk about serious stuff, you got to have a little bit of a laugh. And again, I'm not obviously I'm not a feminist in the way that it is right now, but these fourth wave or fifth wave feminists, whatever's you know, the flavor of the day is today, I'm not on board with any of that mess. But I just thought that's funny because it's just easy to set them off. Okay, so let's talk about some serious stuff now that we got something funny out of the way to lighten the mood just a little bit as more and more folks are coming on board. All right, I said I was going to talk about this every time it happened, but there's been another swatting. And this is something that you know, I've given you guys my opinion on it. This is obviously I don't know what you want to call it. I don't want to call it an epidemic, but this is a serious problem that we're seeing across the country, and it's all geared towards one group of folks. So if you're new here, this is geared towards one group of folks, and that is conservative commentators. So this conservative commentator had police officers show up with their AR-15s or whatever it happens to be. Yeah, it looks like an AR-15. They show up with their weapons, with their M4s, if that's what it happens to be. But they show up with their M4s, knock on the door because some nefarious character called them and said, hey, there's something bad going on at this house. They've got somebody at gunpoint, or they've got, you know, bomb-making materials, or whatever it happens to be. They make a false police report. SWAT shows up. And then these people are put in a compromising situation, and the entire purpose behind this is to use the police to unalive, which is the word that I have to use for YouTube, to unalive these conservative commentators. And this guy's not a big one. That's the point that I really want to make. This whoever this Larry, I don't know anything about his account. He posted it. It got shared quite a bit. But 177,000 followers is not a huge account. It's really not. And kind of the scuttlebutt at this point is that they're going after small commentators to try and shut them up before they get big. Like if you get really big and you get Tim Pool big, or you get Jeremy from the Quartering big, or you get whatever, you know, large channel it happens to be, when you get to that size, you're really going to have trouble, and we're going to come out in force. So you better shut up now. And this is the cooling tactic that they are using against conservative commentators, and we have to be aware of it. I take it into consideration. I'm obviously a very small channel right now, but we will be a big channel eventually, one day, at some point in time. And every time that I see it, and I've seen dozens of them now, dozens of instances of people being swatted, mostly well, not mostly, all conservative social media personalities, people that are pro-Trump, people that are pro-Doge, pro-Musk, whatever it happens to be. If you are a mouthpiece for the movement that they don't agree with, they will try to use the police to unalive you, to end not just your social media account, but your life as you know it. And we're seeing that same level of violence in what we're going to talk about here in a minute, or talk about now. Let's just go ahead and get into it with Tesla. So Tesla and its vehicles, it is dealerships, all of these things being burned all across the country. And I can show you, let's just show you this one clip. This is one that's been pushed around the internet, but this isn't just happening in one place. This is happening all around the country in dozens and dozens of places, and it's growing. The problem is getting worse. The problem is getting worse. Well, how in the world are these people being mobilized? Well, it's being done by Democrat politicians. It's being done by activists. And it's actually taking place even in red states. Tennessee is a red state. But Tennessee there's an activist group. It's called Indivisible Tennessee. And Indivisible Tennessee is going to stage Tesla protests in Franklin, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. Okay, so how are all these people being brought together? Well, a lot of it is Soros money. We know that that's going to be involved, but leftist money is being involved, and it's being fueled by the Democrats, which I'm going to show you here in just a minute. Let me read a little bit of this article. This is from the Post Millennial. So a nationwide progressive activist group called Indivisible has organized several district actions to occur on March 22nd outside of Tesla dealerships in Tennessee. The, quote, Tesla takedown protests are scheduled to take place around 1 p.m. in Memphis, Chattanooga, Franklin, and Knoxville, according to its website. On Tuesday, Indivisible Tennessee issued a post to its private Facebook group announcing the demonstration along with an attached photo of an event flyer. Quote, all right, folks, weather looking good for this Saturday. We're going to do this, is what they wrote. And it was reposted by Libs of TikTok. But this whole thing around Tesla, and by the way, a lot of these folks, I would venture to say, are driving Teslas to these protests. I mean, these are the people that wanted to mandate we buy Teslas, that wanted to mandate that we buy EVs, and now they're burning them to the ground. And it's not just that they're that they're taking this action. It's that leftists in general see that don't even see this as a problem. In fact, they see this as a victory for them, as is evidenced by The Daily Show and the new host of The Daily Show. Listen to the crowd response to this guy's description.
To the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Cool.
Okay, so the messaging is, first off, petty acts of terrorism. Petty acts? How long until, and this is a point, I'm not going to take credit for this point because I think it was Harris Faulkner. Is it Faulkner that made the point about this? And it's very true. When's the next time they're going to set one on fire and somebody's pet is inside? Or even worse, they have a kid who's inside the vehicle, who's hiding under the back seat, right? Not that they should be leaving a kid who's hiding under the back seat in their vehicle, but these sorts of things happen. When is it that a child is going to be involved, or a pet is going to be involved, something else is going to be involved, and there's going to be more and more and more destruction? How long until they escalate this to the point of firebombing moving Tesla vehicles? Would they consider doing that? I think they would. There's not many limits to their depravity. We saw the summer of love. We saw, as they call it, the summer of love, right? Where they were burning down cities, costing billions of dollars in damage. And now they're going after an American automaker. Look, I don't buy into the whole, EVs are going to save the environment sort of thing. In fact, I believe I won't get into my environmental thoughts on this. That's a whole nother topic for another day. But I think most of it is a bunch of bunk. But nonetheless, do I think that EVs chock full of heavy metals that take tons and tons and tons of CO2 just to produce? Do I think that those are going to save the environment? No. Do I think they're an interesting alternative? Sure. They're an interesting vehicle. They've got a lot of utility. They've got a lot of uses. I watched a welder. He was talking about hooking up to the 220 in the back of his Cybertruck and using it to weld all day long and still have enough charge left to get home. That's pretty impressive. And so there's interesting things about it. It's an interesting use of technology, and Elon Musk has done amazing things to bring this company to the forefront after being on the verge of bankruptcy just a few years ago. But nonetheless, we were being mandated. They wanted to mandate every American that the solution to all of our problems was electric vehicles, and now they're burning them to the ground, and they're cheering for it. And the behavior around, it's not just burning, right? It's the mind virus, the leftist mind virus is taking hold. In an instance like this, check out this guy's behavior. He saw a Tesla truck. He saw a Cybertruck. I keep calling it a Tesla truck. Cybertruck. He saw a Cybertruck. This is his response. These are immature children willing to dig in their backside and then wipe it on the side of a vehicle just to make a point. And I'm shocked that they haven't figured out all these vehicles have cameras all over them, right? These are driving security systems with cameras everywhere, and yet they keep doing it. They smash windows. They try to dent the side. They wipe their sweat on it, whatever you want to call that. I mean, good grief. Well, okay. I mean, Junior, that's a fair point. He did sell some of his Tesla stock, but he's still running the company. He's still the head of. So, Junior, I'll put up the comment here. Let's put it up so everybody can see. He said that Elon sold his Tesla stock to finance his purchase of Twitter. Now Elon only owns 12% of Tesla stock, so he doesn't care. He moved on to rockets and robots. You're not entirely wrong on that one, but what I would say and how I would push back a bit, this is still his baby. It's the thing that he's running. He's the chief engineer for the company. He's the one who's been building all the factories, and he still has a vested interest in the success of the company because you know how it is. If you start a small business and you invest everything in it, and then you get a big payout, but you still retain some ownership or operability inside of the company, some responsibility inside of the company, you really don't want to see it fail. So I get it. He doesn't. If it goes bankrupt, he's still going to be the richest man in the world. But yeah, it's a valid point. Yeah, you're right. Reaching in his butt crack is more disturbing than the car scratching. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't disagree with that. And so the guy digging in his backside, wiping it on the side of a vehicle, that kind of speaks to the mental contagion that is all of this. And there's a lot of people speaking back about it or speaking out about it. Scott Jennings is one. He does a pretty good job of explaining this. And I'm going to let him wrap this up, and then we're going to keep talking about it because I got a few more points on top of what Scott Jennings has to say. Listen to this, who is killing it, by the way. I know I say that every time, but this guy kills it on CNN.
Doubtful it's Republicans attacking Tesla dealerships around the country. It's pretty wild, actually. The other night, Donald Trump said these are domestic terrorists. Everybody laughed about it and scoffed at it. That video looks like terrorism to me. I mean, it's obviously an organized, coordinated effort, however people are communicating with each other, to do this to people around the country who chose to buy a Tesla at some point in the past, many of whom I'm sure are Democrats who bought them in the first place, all because their entire political worldview is ruled by their emotions. And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous. It is terrorism. People ought to be put in jail and left there for a very long time and be taught a lesson.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealership, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support,
we okay with the January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me educate you.
No, you don't need to patronize
you don't need to.
me.
You don't need to be condescending to me. So let me educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish it. Let me finish it. Let me finish it.
Let's do this January 6th and then narrative.
I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
Yeah, I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do.
Okay.
Stop, guys.
So here's the issue. I didn't support what happened on January the 6th and was one of the first Republicans to call it out. I don't support the pardons. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous. I've sat at this table and had people say, we should cut Elon Musk from the government totally. He rescued our astronauts today. Is that what we want? The treatment of this guy is outrageous. These people who are doing this need to be found, put in jail, and made an example of. That's my point.
Anyone who commits violence.
Okay. I mean, in his typical fashion, Scott Jennings is 100% on the mark. He's saying this is an emotional reaction. These people are wholly and entirely ruled by their emotions.
So,
doubtful. I do that every time. X, we got to fix your player. Yeah, so this is an emotional response. And so like children who have more emotional responses and can't really control or maintain their emotions, they lash out by doing things like the guy I just showed you, digging in his pants and pulling out sweat from his backside and wiping it on a vehicle, like an infant. And just like an infant, just like a kid, I won't say an infant, but like a little kid, there has to be discipline. We have to have discipline, and that's going to come in the form of law and order. And I'm going to tie this together with some of the things Chuck Schumer said when we talk about law and order. We talk about the Constitution. We talk about all that. But these are children. That's really what they are. They don't have the emotional intelligence of actual adults. They are children. And another piece of this is the way they make their argument. They are going to use false equivalencies. And Anonymous, which I think was supposed to be like that hacker group from back in the day or whatever it was, they're now just a left-wing mouthpiece on X and across social media. But Anonymous says, how dare you attack Tesla? Those poor cars have feelings too. Why would anyone do this? Quote, here is loser Kid Rock shooting cans of Bud Light because he was mad at a trans person for being on a can of it. So they are equating, in their disconnected mind, Kid Rock on his property shooting at beer cans with a rifle, doing absolutely no harm to anyone except some, cheap warm beer. That is the same thing as burning down city blocks, setting massive fires, destroying millions of dollars in property, and wreaking havoc on the personal property of our fellow citizens. Has there ever been a more false equivalency? I would love to know if you've ever seen one. And so my question, I've got to pose a question to everybody. Are these the trimmers before a full-blown terrorist plot? Is this terrorism? First, let's do this. Just write Q1, and then your answer will be to this. Is this terrorism? Burning of Teslas, is this terrorism? Question 2, do you think that these are the trimmers before a full-blown terrorist plot? I would love to know your opinion. And for you folks that are on, argue about it down in the comment section, because I would love to know. That's a perfect point. There you go, Junior. Junior, in typical fashion, man, burning up the chat. Cans of Bud Light don't have people, kids, and animals riding within them. Bingo, bango. So what's driving these people? What's pushing them, to keep burning down vehicles, to do what they did in 2020, to do what they're doing now? This is, taking the politics is their religion, right? And so they're defending their religion. Well, it's because the politicians are goading them into it. And when you have the mentality of a child, such as the guy digging in his backside, you fall prey to people like Chuck Schumer. Listen to this.
We are mobilizing in New York. We have people going to the Republican districts and going after these Republicans who are voting for this and forcing them to either change their vote or face the consequences. This is a long, relentless fight that we fight every day. And I am confident that we will bring Trump's popularity, numbers, and strength down if we keep at it and keep at it and keep at it.
Okay. So this is talking about going into areas and applying pressure to Republicans, lest they face the consequences. This is a fight. I'm not one of those who gets overly tied up in the language, but when it's as persistent as it is on the left with fight, fight, fight. Remember back in 2020, you got to go back to the last time we had a sample group for this sort of rhetoric was getting in the faces of people. So said Maxine Waters. Fighting, fighting. I want to punch him in the face. So said Joe Biden. So said Chuck Schumer. So said all these other politicians. It's the constant rhetoric that it's planting the seed in the mind of adolescents like this, overgrown adolescents is what I would call them, of this guy that I showed you just a moment ago. They're susceptible to all of these things. And they'll buy into it and they say, yeah, we got to fight. I know what that means. Wink, wink. So they threaten Republicans. They gin up hysteria. Listen to this one. This is again, listen to the language.
Every public school librarian, every administrator, every school bus driver, everybody who helps educate our kids, you need to know this is the moment we got to stick together and we got to fight back. I don't care if you are a Democrat, a Republican, an independent, a libertarian, a vegetarian. We need you in this fight. This is the fight for an America where it's not just rich kids who get an education and have a chance to build something with their lives, but that every kid in America gets the best education they can so they can build the best lives. But the only way that's going to happen is if we stay in this fight. It is a fight we can win.
No, fight, 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 over and over and over again while having what seems like a positive message. And in this, she was referencing Donald Trump signing his executive order that's, potentially going to, it's not going to end. He can't end the Department of Education because that was put in place by Congress, but it's going to do a severe cutback to the Department of Education. So it's hysteria. We want to save the Department of Education for all the kids and for all the education and all this and all that and all this and all that. And this is so our motives are wholesome, fight. And it's important that we continue to do these things and that you fight. And just this subliminal messaging that spread across the Democrat Party, and it's driving people to say, well, I don't want to lose that. And who's the culprit? Well, it's Elon Musk. It's Elon Musk, the guy who we were loving years ago, right? Because he was the answer to all our problems. EVs are the answer to all our problems. And now they say, we're not really worried about the environment, right? It's not about the environment. It's about politics. And so from all this, what can we deduce? So all my yammering, what can we deduce? Republicans, we want response, and I say Republicans in general, but really the more Trump and conservative movement, though Trump's not a pure conservative, but the Trump conservative movement. We want responsible spending. We want adherence to the Constitution. We want law and order. We want prosperity. We want freedom, and we want liberty. Amongst other things, but those are some of the big ones. What does the left want? After all this, they want one thing: political power. That's it. That's the only thing that they want is political power. And what have we learned from this? After the burning down of Teslas, after the billions of dollars in 2020, during that big temper tantrum, the left wants political power, and they will destroy anyone who disrupts it. Anyone, anything, they do not care. And they are heavily mobilized and heavily funded by nefarious actors like George Soros. Janie made a good point. She said, at 3 to 5% of any school division's budget, how does Pocahontas think anyone is going to be educated? There you go. And by the way, the feedback, yes, domestic terrorism. A lot of people, yes, that people are saying that this is terrorism. And I agree. I really do. And when people are found guilty for terrorist acts, the penalties, they won't see the light of day again. And my understanding, I need to do a bit more research on the arrest rates, but the last report I heard was that about 90% of the people that have conducted these acts have been arrested and are going to be tried for their crimes. And that's a positive thing, obviously, that speaks to the effectiveness of the DOJ, which was strangely absent when they were burning down, cities across America a few years ago. So, send a message. I can't wait until the first one gets 25 years to life for terrorism. Right? And I mean, this is when you do things for political vengeance, that falls into the terrorist realm. That's kind of how they define it, right? And this is purely political. And there's one other thing that I didn't play before I get into the pyramids, which is really wild. But this is Tim Walz. Listen to what Tim Walz says. And I meant to have play this earlier, but
some of you know this on the iPhone.
I didn't, and so let me pull this up. So what happens when you're live and you skip over something? You get out of sync. Let's get back in sync. Listen to Tim Walz. Boy, I'm so glad he's not the vice president.
On my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone. They've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you. Saying on my
Okay. You might think, oh, that's just him making a political point. That's him just being a politician. No. This is the governor of one of our states saying that he is cheering for the collapse of an American automaker. Not to mention, according to Kevin O'Leary, which I'll play the video here, and let me just go ahead and play it for you. Tesla is a huge chunk. Tesla stock is a huge chunk of Minnesota's pension fund. And yet he's cheering on the fall of it. Why? It doesn't affect him. He couldn't care less.
When you set a car on fire, you should go to jail. You're a criminal.
Any car,
I don't think we have to talk about it in any other context. Yeah. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal, and you should go
what about the broader
to
question
jail.
about the protest factor? I mean, you heard
What
Tim Walz.
protest? You're a criminal.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state.
I mean,
that's their investment
your
fund.
point,
What a bozo.
Bingo, bango. It's becoming more and more fun since they have people like Kevin O'Leary and Scott Jennings and all these folks on CNN. It's becoming more and more enjoyable to share CNN commentary. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to leave that piece of it for now. But look, this is, again, I will reiterate, this is the Republicans saying we just want, we want Doge to be doing their job, to give us recommendations on cutting because we want efficiency. We want to spend our tax dollars, i.e. our time and labor that is stolen from us out of every single paycheck, and that we go and justify, violate our Fourth Amendment rights when we go and file with the IRS. We go through all that rigmarole, all that mess. They take our money. Fine, if you're going to do it, until we can repeal, the income tax, at least spend it properly. And what does the left do? They are doing cheetah flips over it. Absolute cheetah flips over it. It's all about political power. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about, if you are, and I know that there's at least one person on who was on the Braver Than the Rest podcast, shameless plug, Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. I do a podcast with some great guys. It's called Braver Than the Rest. You can find us on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. And we talked about this, but I'm going to skip forward just a little bit in this one because I played the full video talking about the pyramids and really kind of giving you just a couple of my thoughts on it. But for the folks that just are on my YouTube channel, you know, this is a wild revelation. So check this out. It's a couple of minutes long. Very, very interesting.
To wrap my head around the implications of what we were just told. So this is pretty much breaking news because the new findings were announced on the 16th of March at a press conference held by the team who was studying the Great Pyramid of Giza with a non-invasive technology that was first developed by Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga called synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography. So this was used to explore the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this method leverages the analysis of micro movements typically generated by background seismic activity to achieve a high resolution full 3D tomographic imagery of the pyramid's interior and subsurface components. The recent findings from deploying this technology are nothing short of mind-blowing, because what's been discovered is that there are huge structures coming down from the base of the pyramid deep into the bedrock, in fact over 600 meters deep, which then connects to structures that extend up to 2 kilometers below the surface of the ground. 2 kilometers. Massive internal structures connected to the base of the pyramid and extending deep, deep down. This is what we know so far. Utilizing high-resolution radar images from Capella Space and Umbra, which are 2 private companies that specialize in satellite-based synthetic aperture radar imaging. This has allowed researchers to create a 3D model of the internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, this model has revealed a previously unknown chamber with 5 horizontal levels and a sloping roof, which in of itself is an architectural design unlike any previously documented in the Giza Pyramid. But the most shocking discovery lies beneath the surface. Below ground level, radar tomography has identified vertical cylindrical structures extending for hundreds of meters beneath the pyramid. There are 8 of these cylindrical wells arranged in 2 parallel rows, descending to an astonishing depth of 648 meters. Even more intriguing, at the base of these structures are 2 massive cubic formations measuring approximately 80 meters in diameter. The tomographic data suggests that these are vertical wells with intricate spiral pathways. Now, this design not only implies a functional purpose, but also a level of sophisticated engineering that completely blows the dynastic Egyptian model out of the water. I mean, the pyramid itself was already a massive red flag in the ancient Egyptian historical narrative. But now, with this discovery, I think it's become impossible to say that the Egyptian civilizations that we understand, that we've been taught about, were responsible for building these structures. And it doesn't even end there. The radar analysis extends beneath the entire Giza plateau, revealing interconnected structures beneath not only the Great Pyramid of Giza, but also those of Khufu and Menkaure. The subsurface network reaches down to a staggering depth of approximately 2 kilometers. 2 kilometers. This is not possible, given the standard historical and archaeological narrative given to us about ancient Egypt. Now,
okay, why in the world would I play something like that? I talk politics all the time, all right? That's my thing. I talk politics, I talk about culture, I talk about all the things going on in the world. Why would I bring up this latest discovery? I bring it up because there's deception that doesn't just go on in politics, in culture, in our world. There's politics, or not politics, but there's deception that is going on behind the scenes in realms that a lot of people don't understand. And by that, I mean, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian conservative. And, you know, a lot of folks I had a conversation. You can skip forward to the part we had a lengthier conversation about it on the Braver Than the Rest. And I forget exactly where it was. Buffer through the video if you just want to get to that. But we were talking about the things that we understand from the Bible, the evil that exists in the world that is very explicit in the Bible, the evils that we're facing today in the divisions and the rhetoric and the child sacrifice, as I like to call it, which is abortion. Those sorts of things are going on now. The past isn't necessarily the way we have been told by the historians. Something like this completely upends what the historians have been telling us for a very long time. That doesn't discount everything that the historians say, but that means that people need to be looking deeper into I believe, into the spiritual world, which is the Christian world. And we were talking last night about the Nephilim. Is it a possibility that that's how these things were built? These are things that Egyptians, back when the pyramids were supposedly built, could not have done. And this guy went on to talk about pre-flood history, how, this opens up a whole new window of research that needs to be done in pre-flood history. So it's, yep, there you go. Tristan, she said it over on Rumble. Nephilim, just like Jeremy said. Yeah. So I say that to say things aren't always as they appear. The things that are seemingly miraculous, we've been told one thing. It doesn't necessarily mean we've been told the truth. That's not just in current politics. That is for millennia, for centuries. And so if you're looking to the more secular parts of the world for all of your information, you're going to get a lot of misinformation. If you go back towards the biblical, that is the most consistent and reliable source of information that we have, in my humble opinion. And I'm saying that going into Charlie Kirk. This is a really wild turn. I'm taking you on left turn, right turn, really sharp turns. Because just like in history, just like in archaeology, that we've had nefarious intent on what people are transmitting to us, what people are telling us. We have the same thing when it comes to current day. Current day, we are told that child sacrifice, which is what it is, which is what abortion is legitimate, is okay, is fine. Listen to this poor indoctrinated woman talk to Charlie Kirk.
It's wrong to murder a baby.
You're not murdering a baby. It's not a baby.
What is it then?
It is an embryo.
What species is the baby in the womb?
It's a human, but it's
Therefore,
an
they should have
embryo.
human rights.
No, I do not agree.
Oh, so small humans, no human rights. Grown humans, human rights.
It's not a small human. It's an embryo.
It has a heartbeat. It has brain
That does
waves.
not make it a child.
The excuses given for abortion is dehumanization. Oh, it's just an embryo. Guys, that's just using different language to justify the massacre of something smaller than you. Yeah.
If I were to be pregnant right now and forced to have a baby, that would ruin my life. If I just happened to be pregnant.
Oh, you don't happen to get pregnant. It's not like getting COVID.
I know how it
okay?
works.
You don't get the flu.
I know.
How about
but
this?
say
You
I got
take
pregnant.
responsibility for your orgasms and
What if
stop
that
eliminating
doesn't work?
people smaller than you.
So you're saying I should carry a baby and ruin my collegiate life?
How about this? Instead of saying ruin, first of all, babies are a blessing. Stop talking at them as if they're some sort of annoyance.
I will have to drop out of college.
Number two, you play certain games, you win certain prizes. If you're going to go have sex...
So you're saying I should drop out of college to support my child and supporting my life?
I'm saying if you're going to engage in coitus, in the practice of having children, you might end up with a baby. So know that. And guess what? You don't need to have sex before you get married. It's not like showering. It's not like eating.
Are you married?
Yes, with 2 beautiful children.
Wow, good for you.
I could tell you're not married.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
So I say that, how far have we fallen? When we, again, I try to bring all this back together. So we have these amazing, miraculous discoveries from back in time that we cannot explain. And yet now, this is the type of thing that college kids are talking about, that they're worried about. How far have we fallen? And did you notice the entirety of her response was selfish? This was a selfish young girl. And I do feel for her. In some ways, I do feel for her. And I feel for her because she has been duped and she has been indoctrinated for a very long time. And the culmination of that indoctrination comes together at college. In the American university, this is what happens. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So we have towers that are 1.6 miles, i.e. 2 kilometers underground that we cannot explain. And yet this girl is just worried about, well, I don't want to have to drop out of college, so I should be able to have a child sacrifice, which is now publicly available to people in multiple states across the country. We are not progressing. This is why I don't believe in evolution, aside from the fact that it's not biblical. This is why we have a failing, I feel like we're moving backwards in our intellect. I truly do. What are they more concerned about? Selfish things, as I said before. victimhood, the victim mentality. This is Charlie Kirk. Again, this is University of Tennessee. This is red country. This is right down the road from me. I mean, it's a little ways down the road from me, but this is down the road from me where you would think, listen.
I was hate crime 5 times in one night, okay? 3 of them by Trump supporters.
What happened to you?
I was just walking, and then I see this truck full of 4 white men pass by me, MAGA apparel, everything, you know. They drove past me, and they were like, F you, bend over.
So they said the N-word on campus to you?
Well, yes.
Okay, so what happened to them when you reported them?
I didn't report them.
Threatening to rape you is an intent of a crime. Did you go to the police? You file a police report? You hire an attorney? You sue the school? Did you go to the civil rights office? Do you file a civil rights complaint? Did you do any of that? Because you should.
Okay.
No, did you? Tell me. Yes or no?
I did not, but
Why?
I'm not going to argue with you.
No, but
on
you're coming in front of
experiences.
2,000 people to say it. Why did you
Right.
not go to the university and say this happened?
Next instance, they threatened to rape me and then just drove off.
Hold on. So a bunch of Trump guys who are largely white heterosexual males then also threatened to rape you?
Different group of people, but yes.
I'm going to show you the university official, and why don't you go file a Department of Education complaint, and let's find these terrible people that did this to you. Can we agree?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll think about
and by
that.
the way, we'll be able to look at security camera footage, and we'll see.
Okay, I'll think about that.
But you didn't do that.
Can I try
though.
to finish?
You'll think about it. Hold on. Why wouldn't you want to do that immediately? No, honestly, I think you're Jussie Smollett at this campus. I think you're completely making this whole thing up. I think you are a complete liar because I am now giving you an opportunity to report this at the high. I will bring this to Linda McMahon, the head of the Department of Education, the federal government. I will make sure these people are arrested by Kash Patel, the head of the FBI. And you'll say, oh, I'll think about it. Because you're making this up. You're doing this for a political purpose. So will you, no, seriously, Kash Patel will get involved. Yes? It's a hate crime. That's not acceptable. Will you do this or not?
That's really cute, Charlie, but I'm trying to give you the opportunity to alleviate hate within this group of people who have a shared ideology.
But hold on a second. There's no hate. There's just love of America here in this audience. That's all that's here today, okay? That's all that's here.
So, look, this is a prime example of, on the left, you make things up, right? When nothing actually happened, but you really crave the attention that comes from the victim mentality, you make up a fake hate crime, which is what this young man did. And then you put someone like Charlie Kirk in a position to denounce the hate crime that never actually took place, that is fake. And when he refuses to do so, you can then go on social media and say that he is in favor of hate because he refused to denounce the hate crime that never actually took place, that did not exist, and that never happened. This is full-blown delusion. My, how far we've fallen. Good grief. Okay, I'm coming up on the 45-minute mark, which is where I usually call it quits, but I'm going to give you, let's see, am I going to do this one? Okay, I am going to do one more. I'm going to do one more for you guys. Okay, so actually, no, I'm not going to. I'm going to save that one for another show. I hated to lead you on like that. But I'm going to save that one for another show. I'll save that one for this weekend. So just to let you guys know, there's not going to be a show tomorrow on Friday, but there will be one on Saturday. I'm going to do a show on Saturday evening. So please come back. Join me right here on this channel. If you are new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button, the like button, and the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video is released. Guys, I truly appreciate it. I appreciate all the commentary going on down in the comment section. I appreciate all the folks that are over on X. I appreciate the folks on Rumble, all the people that keep coming back to this show, and we have several of them that are coming back over and over and are engaged. I love it. I absolutely love it, and that's the whole reason I'm doing this channel. So, guys, I will see you in the next show. God bless you. God bless America. Have a great evening.